Okay, now let's see purchasing models. Purchasing models in the sense it is a kind of licensing models. Okay, we can call it a licensing models. So the terminology here we will call as a purchasing models in Azure SQL database. So we have two types of purchasing models. So DTU and vCore model. So what does means DTU? DTU means database transaction unit. Okay, it is simple and pre-configured options. Like here, see in on-premises, we will be having option while we are creating the server. So we will be setting the how many CPU vCores for that particular server we need, and what is the RAM, what is the storage. Okay, so we will be having flexibility, right? But here, if you come to the DTU model, so we don't have that flexibility. So all CPU, memory, IO will be blended, blended measure of CPU, storage, and IO. Yeah, that means combination of all will be treated in DTE model. Okay, in DTE, if you select the DTE model, so we don't have option to select, what is the Vicar, what is the RAM, and how many IOs. We cannot select this. We just need to what we need to do. We just select what how many DTUs we need for this particular database. That's it. We will see only DTUs. Okay, so this is best for the customers who want to introduce their database in cloud and they want to develop their database, and it should be in a simple and pre-configured resource options. Then they can make use of this DTE model and come to the vCore model. So this is independent scalability. In DTU, we don't have flexibility to scale up or scale down our CPU memory cores, right? Here in this vCore model, so we will be having the options compute, storage, IO resources. These are independent. That means we can select independently. Okay. So this is for best for who want flexibility, control, and transparency over the database. Then they can make use of vCore database model. And in vCore database model, so we have one more advantage like Azure hybrid benefit option will be having. If you are having licensing model in on-premises already, you just make use of that licensing in Azure SQL so that your cost will be reduced. But that option is not available in the DTU. Okay, so you can just explain in this way. So what is the difference between DTU and vCore model means? So DTU is the database transaction units where we don't have flexibility to control resources, compute and storage resources. So this is just best for the users who want to develop their database newly and with the simple and pre-configured options. And vCore model is where we have the independent scalability of CPU, compute, and IO resources. Like we can individually select the vCore and IOPS and storage, and then which is best for the who want flexibility, control, and transparency over the database, and it is having the Azure hybrid benefit also. So this is the difference between the DTU and vCore model. So we will see where this option, I think you already saw these options. Again, we will explore these options. No worries. Now, in this DTU model, again, we will having the different service tiers. In this vCore model, again, we will be having the different service tiers. If you select the DTU model, under which you will be seeing basic, standard, premium. Three types of service models you will see. Okay. See, in service tiers in DTU model, we will be having basic, standard, premium. Now let's see what is the difference between the basic, standard, premium. So we have seen three service tiers available in the DTE model, right? Now see what are the differences. See, all are the target workload would be either we can use for the development and production purpose. Okay, basic, standard, premium, and the SLA would be 99.99%. They will be providing, Microsoft providing 99.99% for all these models. See, these are very, very important points. Okay, and maximum retention, backup retention, it supports 7 days. Basic will support only for 7 days. That means you can keep your database only till 7 days only. After that, it will delete it. Okay. Here, in all service tiers, the default backup retention period would be 7 days only. I mean, default you will see 7 days, but in basic, the maximum also 7 days only. In standard, you can increase to 35 days. Until 35 days, you can keep. You will get doubt. So if you need your database to be, keep more than 35 days, then we can go for the long-term retention period. We will be having that option till 10 years. We can keep our database. Okay. We will see these options in backup. So while we are discussing the backups, we will see all these options again. Okay. Now premium also 35 days. Now the CPU, how it will be? This is very low. This is basically for very less usage databases. Basic will be okay, and in real world the basic would be maximum. They will be using development purpose only, not in production server. Okay, even production server they won't use this. This is not enough. If they can go for the production database, either they can go for standard or premium based on that their requirement. Okay, and it is very low. This is for low, medium, high, and this is for only medium and high premium. Cost also differs. If you go for basic to standard, it increases, and standard to premium, it increases because it is providing best features, right, compared to this. Now, if you come to the IOPS per DTU, it will provide the 1 to 4 IOPS. Here also 1 to 4. Here you will get the greater than 25. And IO latency would be here, read 5 milliseconds, write 10 milliseconds. Here read 5 milliseconds, 10 milliseconds, but here is 2 milliseconds both for read and write, because here performance is very high because of latency is less, right? So compared to here, latency is high here. Okay, and column store index supports. Basic is not supported, and S3 and above only supports, and premium supported. So in this standard again, we will be having the standard start with the S0 and end with the S12, I guess. Okay, S0 to S12. We will be having option to select based on our requirement. So that's what they are telling. Start from S3, it is supported. Even S0, S1, S2, it won't support column store. In-memory OLTP, both basic and standard is not supported. Only premium will support. So these are the differences between the basic, standard, premium. Now storage limit, we will see storage limit for this DTE model. So maximum storage it supports basic only 2 GB. Only it supports only 2 GB. If you need beyond 2 GB storage, okay, then we can go for the standard. Standard will support up to 1 terabyte. Premium will support up to 4 terabytes. Okay. Clear, right? If you need more than 4 terabyte, so we can go for the hyperscale. There is one more features database called hyperscale. This is it will be having, very high level features. If you want to make use of very low latency and heavy workloads only, we can make use of hyperscale. Then maximum DTUs it supports. Basic supports 5 DTUs, standard 3000, and premium supports 4000. No. So any questions still here? We just discussed about DTU, differences between the DTU and vCore model. And we have seen the differences between the DTUs and storage limits for DTU. Till now, any confusions or questions, just let me know.
Srini, what is DTU? Is it like any abbreviation for it? Is it a storage unit?
No, I told you, right? DTU means database transaction unit.
Okay.
Database transaction unit, DTU.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's move to the vCore model. So we just discussed about DTU model. Now let's move to the vCore model. So the service stays in the vCore model. vCore model, we have the general purpose, business critical, hyperscale. So I told you, right? So hyperscale supports up to 100 terabytes. If you need data storage, no more than 4 terabytes, we need to scale up to the hyperscale, which is available in the vCore model, not in DTU model. Remember that. Okay. So in DTU models, what are the service tiers? Anybody? What are the service tiers available in DTU model, guys? Just now only we discussed, right?
Basic, premium, and standard.
That's what I'm expecting. Okay. Basic, standard, premium.
But what is the difference between vCore and DTU? Is it like that capacity is less data storage and this is high, right?
Yeah, DTU is, you know, low level intensive, workloads only. Okay. So when you see the
Oh,
differences between DTU and vCore, completely you understand. So the differences I have already told, right? So DTU means it is a combination of compute and IO resources. That means CPU, memory, and IO both will be combined and clubbed into and they will treat it as a DTU. You
okay.
cannot individually select, I need this much of vCore for this database, this much of RAM for this database. So those options you don't have. The only thing what you need to do, you just select how many DTUs for your database. That's it. Got it,
Yeah,
Prabha?
yeah, got it.
So if you want that kind of flexibility, you can go for the vCore model, vCore purchasing model, where we will be having the flexibility. Okay, I will show you while after this theoretical completed, I will show you, then you get to know.
Okay, okay.
Now we will see the vCore model, purchasing models in vCore model. Here we have general purpose, business critical, and hyperscale. So where we will be having the flexibility to individually select CPU, memory, and IOPS. Okay, and where we will be having the Azure hybrid benefit also. That option available here. So vCore in the sense virtual core here. Virtual core represents the logical CPU. Okay, here don't have, we cannot see physical level and all. Okay, we are just seeing the logical CPUs and offers the option to choose the physical characteristic of hardware. Okay, for example, number of cores, memory, and storage size. That's it. We can select. If vCore purchasing model is the cost is related in DTU purchasing model, the cost is based on how many DTUs you selected. Okay, let's suppose I'm selecting 5 DTUs. I have 100 rupees. If I select the 10 DTUs means I'll be having double the price, right? 200 rupees. Like that, my cost will be uh, charged for my DTU model. But in vCore model, the cost is based on the one is service tier. What is the service tier you are selecting? Whether you are selecting general purpose, business critical, and hyperscale. And what is the hardware configuration? We will see three types of hardware configurations in this vCore model. We will see. And what is the compute resources? That means how many vCores you are selecting. In general purpose, you are selecting 5 vCores or 10 vCores or 12 vCores, whatever the vCores you are selecting. And then if you are uh, opting any reserved data storage option, that means it is a kind of discount option. If you are reserving like your 3 years or 5 years, if you are taking this plan, you will get some benefit, right? So even in if you are going for mobile plans also, you will be having that kind of plans, right? You will get some discount. The same kind of discount will be provided by the Microsoft. Okay. And then actual backup storage. What is the backup storage you're selecting? So by considering all these factors, the cost will be charged in this vCore model. This you will get an interview question like how the cost will be charged for the vCore model. So based on what factors the cost will Microsoft will be charged. These are all interview questions. Okay, direct interview questions. Now let's see difference between the general purpose, business critical, and hyperscale. General purpose is mostly used for the general workloads. That means balanced workloads. You don't need to put high level of it is not high level of cost. It is for general workloads. Okay, balanced and scalable compute storage options. All are in balanced level. And business critical is for only it is for business application that highest resilience to the failures by using several high availability secondary replicas and provides the highest IO performance. If you come to the general purpose, business critical is faster because it is providing the highest IO performance, and also in general purpose by default they will be enabled high availability technical, but it is not there in the general purpose. That means the recovery also very faster in business critical. And hyperscale, this is kind of widest variety of workloads, including those workloads with the highly scalable storage and read scale requirements. It offers high resilience to failures by allowing configuration of more than one high availability secondary replica. See, the entire architecture for hyperscale is different. Okay, general purpose and business critical is the behind the architecture, it is database architecture only. But for if you come to the hyperscale, the architecture itself it is different. They will be using behind kind of all the what I can say. It is a kind of Kubernetes services. So that is why it is very faster, very faster compared to the general purpose and business critical. And also there is no limits for in hyperscale. Okay, many features we can make use of until whatever we can. Okay, now compute sizes, if you see here, compute sizes in the sense vCores, you can select from 2 to minimum 2 to 128 vCores you can select. Business critical also same, hyperscale also same. And storage type, if you come to the storage type, it is using premium remote storage. Premium remote storage in the sense local storage, difference between local storage and remote storage. Remote storage in the sense it is in the kind of shared storage, network storage. Local storage is very faster compared to the remote storage. If we storage in network, that is somewhat slower than the local storage. So if you come to the business critical, it is super fast local SSD storage. That is why it is very faster. And hyperscale is decoupled storage with local SSD cache per compute replica. So this is entire replica. Entire replica, they will be using local SSD. That is why it is super faster compared to the business critical. And storage is up to 1 GB to 4 GB we can use here. Here also 1 GB to 4 GB. If you come to the here 10 GB to 128 terabytes you can use here. And how many IOPS it is supports here? 320 IOPS per vCore. For one vCore, it supports 320. Maximum we can use a 16,000. Here 4,000 per vCore. Maximum we can use 3,27,680. It starts with 3 lakhs maximum local SSD hyperscale is multi-tenant architecture with caching at multiple levels. That means even more than that IOPS it supports, okay? This one. Here if you see start with 4,000 and 320 IOPS, but here it start with this one only, okay? That's why hyperscale is very faster. Maximum hyperscale usage is very less only because this is high cost compared to general purpose business critical. So most of the workloads, it will be having general purpose. If they need beyond this, some of the applications will be using the business critical. Because customers, they will look for cost also, right? When they go for the Azure. Now come to the memory. Memory. So okay. If you come to the memory, you can see here for 1 vCore, they will be allocated 5.1 GB. So here also memory, we cannot select individually memory. We can select only vCores. Based on that vCores, the memory will be available. Internally, they will be allocating for 1 vCore 5 GB. That means if you select 5 vCores, how much memory will be allocated to your database? It is not for entire instance. Okay, this is allocation for the only single database. What we are discussing. This is for only single database, not for. So in this instance, this we can call it a logical server, right? We will be having two databases. But while we are selecting compute resources and all, that is fixed allocation for this entire single database only. So whatever we are allocating to this database, we cannot make use of this database. For this database, we need to allocate separately. Okay. So this is also 5.1 GB. In this hyperscale, we will be having 5.1 GB or 10.2 GB. So based on hardware configuration, it may increases. Here backups you can see we will be having geo redundant and zone redundant, local redundant options also there. And retention, we will see this all these geo redundant local storage, what is these things and all. And 1 to 35 days retention we can have by default 7 days. Here also same thing. Okay. Here also same thing. And long-term retention period you can see up to 10 years available. Okay. And availability, if you come to here, one primary replica, no read scale replicas here. Here 3 replicas and 1 read scale replica also there. That is why recovery also speed and IOPS also latency also less because it is super faster than the general purpose. Here only zone redundant availability available. When we come to the pricing and billing, based on what parameters, what parameters it will cost means your vCore, reserve storage, and backup storage are charged. IOPS are not charged. Here also same thing, and here also same thing. And what are the discount models here available? Azure reservations, hybrid benefit. Okay, and this is available for only pay as you go and enterprise level, not for dev test subscriptions. Okay, so we have seen right subscriptions, free trial and enterprise level and pay as you go. So it is applicable for the only enterprise and pay as you go models. And in memory OLTP supports only business critical. General purpose not supports and hyperscale also not supports. Any questions till here? We just seen the differences between the general purpose and business critical. Now let us understand differences between the general purpose and business critical in deeper manner. So how internally it will work? Why general purpose business critical is faster than the general purpose? Now we will see. So general purpose service state here for MDF and LDF files will be stored in the blob storage. Okay. Here MDF and LDF files will be, that is kind of network storage, remote storage. So we have seen right remote storage. So that means they will be storing by default MDF and LDF files will be storing in the Azure blob storage. And TempDB uses the local SSD. That means uh, the performance is very faster. Okay, and the storage cost also included in the vCore. For TempDB, we don't need to pay separately. So whatever the vCores we are selecting, right? So in that vCores it is included. So that remote storage where the MDF, LDF files were stored, right? That we can call actually it is a stateful layer and stateless layer. Two layers it follows internally actually. So stateless layer means our SQL server.exe, that means our database engine, it is run by the one of the service that is Azure Fabric service. Okay. Uh, Azure Fabric in the sense it will initiate the process. It will monitor and control the health of our nodes. Okay, all our nodes, whatever created. See, whenever we create even Azure SQL database behind, they will be maintaining the. It's not kind of Azure SQL server. I mean, our SQL server behind they are maintaining the Azure Kubernetes service. If you heard that Kubernetes services are very faster. So that is why when we are creating database or logical servers, it is too fast. Within the 5 minutes of time, we can create our database, right? So that is why. Okay. So like that only, in general purpose, it behind the scenes, Azure Fabric service, it is uses for initiating the process for the SQL Server engine, and it will monitor the node of health and health of the node. Okay, and it will perform the failure also. So they will be see here. You can see here. These are the active compute nodes. These are the redundant nodes. So these nodes are maintained by or monitored by the Azure Fabric service. So if something goes wrong to this node, automatically it will move to the this node, so that we don't have restrictions right to our connectivity. All these kind of things we cannot see, okay, physically. This is internal architecture. You just need to understand, okay. All these things and all we don't see, and it will provide the 99.9% availability by default. And if it is journal redundancy, that means if you are selecting the redundancy, then you can they can provide the 99.995%. And latency here 5 to 10 milliseconds we have seen already. Now let's move to the business critical. Business critical service tier is based on a cluster of database engine service. See, internally in business critical, they will maintaining the always and availability techniques. Okay, always and availability techniques, you know, right? So we have synchronous mode and asynchronous mode. So they will follow the asynchronous mode. Asynchronous mode is very faster compared to the synchronous. Why? Because when we get data from the application user, first it will come to the primary replica and then it sends to the secondary replica, and it won't wait for acknowledgement from the secondary replica in asynchronous mode. So once the data is committed in primary and it sends the results back to the user, so it won't wait acknowledgement from the secondary. So that is why performance is faster. If you go to the synchronous, so once the data is committed in primary, and the same data should be committed in secondary also. Okay. So then only once secondary sends acknowledgements to the primary, hey, I have received your data, then primary will send results back to the user. So it needs some time, right? That is why performance is bit slow, but here data availability is 0 in synchronous. So behind the scenes like that, here asynchronous mode they will be following, okay. High availability technique they will be following when you select the, so that is why when we select the business critical model, we don't need to set up any high availability techniques and all. Like high availability, even for availability, high availability techniques, we don't need to set up anything. We have other options like journal redundancy. Even that also we don't need. Okay. By default, why? Because if you go to the again general purpose, if you need any high availability, you have to make use of other techniques like journal redundancy. But here we don't need. By default, it provides the high availability. So here we can set up only disaster recovery. That's enough. So here TempDB shares local SSD storage with data and log files. Understand differences between general purpose and business critical. So here TempDB, both data and log files also share the local SSD. But in general purpose, only TempDB uses the local SSD. MDF and LF will be stored in the blob storage. That is why they are using remote storage. Here it is using local storage. Since it is using local storage, it is very faster. And high availability is implemented using the technology similar to the always on availability groups. Okay. And compared to general purpose, it also having the one read scale out. That means secondary replicas. Here you can see one primary, three secondaries. It is available here. And latency also here 1 to 2 milliseconds only. In general purpose, 5 to 10 milliseconds. When we configure the geo recovery, it is very faster. If you configure the geo replication, it is very faster. Geo replication is one of the high availability disaster recovery technique. You just need to remember only 2 points. You explain only 2 points, that's it. They will understand differences between the general purpose, business critical, why it is faster than business critical is faster than the general purpose. So general purpose uses the local SSD for TempDB, and MDF and LDF files will be stored in the blob storage. Here, latency is 5 to 10 milliseconds. When we come to the business critical, all local, I mean, TempDB and MDF, LDF all uses the local SSD. That is why it is faster. And here latency is 1 to 2 milliseconds. So behind the architecture, it uses the always and high availability techniques. So read scale out option also here available in this general purpose. That's it. You can explain these points. I think hope you understand.
Yes, Srini.
Yes. Yes, tell me, Shobha.
Yeah, we got it, we understood it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I told you, right, we have different hardware configurations. We have three types of hardware configurations in vCore model. This is vCore model only, okay? Standard series Gen 5 and FSV2 series and DC series. Okay, standard series, we have again provisioned compute and serverless. We will see what is this provision and compute. So 5.1 GB per vCore. Up to we can use the 625 GB. Here auto scale 24 GB per vCore in serverless option. Maximum 240 GB we can use. Okay, that means here see the performance also faster. We will see what is the difference between provision and compute, sir. Then here, if you go to the FSV2 series, it is 1.9 GB per vCore, and DC series 4.5 GB per vCore. You just understand three types of hardware configurations, and each configurations, what is the memory it supports per vCore. That's it. This point you need to understand. That's it. Okay, I think it is enough for this theoretical part for today, because if you go forward, you will get confused. Now let me go to the portal. Let me show you all these options what we have discussed. Let me try to create a new database. If you try to create new database, what you do, just click on this here. I'm going to create single database. Click on here. Now you can see here resource group. I'm making use of same resource group. Okay.
Sneha, the time is less than 1 minute.
Sorry. Okay.
Time is less than 1 minute.